How's it going, y'all? In this video, I'm going to show you how to install Zippy spacers in the Fellowship Blades Gaboon. As you can see, the spacers come in both flush variants and an extension spacer. And I'm going to show you how to install them. You can see I've already installed the bite handle spacer, so we'll do the safe handle together. Before I proceed, I highly recommend you tape the blade during the installation. The Gaboon Magna Cut blade is extremely sharp, and because the handle tolerances are very tight, the Zen pins and weight pins in the spacer can be a high friction piece to remove. And so if you make a jerking movement to remove them, you're at a high risk to cut yourself, as I did previously. So for this installation and every installation on a live blade, I highly recommend you tape the blade. Save yourself a headache. So to begin, I'm just going to show you how the different spacers work and weigh. So the first is a flush spacer, and the second is an extension spacer. The extension spacer can house up to 2 removable tungsten weights, which can be popped in with the tip of a clicky pen. That's one side, and then the other ball would go in the other side. And this is what it looks like when both weights are installed. So the extension spacer maintains an adjustable balance system, and then to remove them, you would just take some rigid metal object and poke out the tungsten ball, as I'm doing here. And I'll do the other one as well, just so you can see how it's done. Just be firm but gentle, take it slow, they'll pop out. So for reference, let's show you the weights of these. The stock spacer weighs 0.061 ounces, and that can be adjusted with one weight pin, bring it up to 0.08 ounces, or both weight pins, bring it up to 0.101 ounces. The Zippy flush spacer weighs in at 0.069 ounces, 0.068. So it's a little bit heavier than just the stock spacer with no weight pins. And then the Zippy extension spacer, empty, weighs 0.096 ounces. And you can bump that up to 0.117 ounces and up to 0.138 ounces with both tungsten balls. Just a note, the weight of both Zippy spacers is more evenly distributed. It's not as ass heavy. The weight is distributed along a greater length of the handles. And that's the reason why the extension spacer weight goes even above the weight of the stock spacer with both pins. Now I'm going to install the second extension spacer with none of the weights. And to do that, I'll take my Torx driver and I'll begin by unscrewing the bottom of the handle and then the top of the handle. And now, if the fit of your Zen pins and screws is not too tight, you should just be able to pop the top slab off. If, however, the tolerances on your pins are so tight that you're having a great deal of difficulty, my recommendation, take it slow. Don't try and yank it off with jerking movements. It's a great way to get cut. what I do is I'll rest the Balisong with the blade facing down, the handle facing down, and take a piece of plastic. This is just a scrap piece of plastic I have lying around, but something softer than titanium so you don't scratch it. And what I'll do is I'll wedge it right next to the Zen pin and make a twisting motion so that the handle pops off, just like that. You can repeat the procedure at the spacer as well. But I'm not having this issue, so I'm not going to spend any more time on that. My biggest recommendation, just take it slow. It's not worth getting cut over. So we've got the slab off, and at this point I'm going to take out the stock spacer and weight pins. So these are actually jammed in here pretty good. I can't just use finger strength to pop them out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to wrap them in paper towel and then use pliers. And to prevent my the blade and everything from flying everywhere, I'm going to take that off, wrap one of the Zen pins in this paper towel, and I'm just going to gently, slowly twist it out. And I'll repeat that procedure for the other one. Just twisting motion and pulling it up. And they both came out fairly easily. All right, now at this point, we're ready to install the spacer. If you're installing a flush spacer, just pop this flush spacer in like so. We're going to be doing the extension spacer, which has more or less the exact same installation procedure. Just pop that on. The extension spacer takes a little more force because you have to overcome the lip, pushing over the slab. But that's on, and now I'm going to put this top slab back on, lining up the Zen pin hole properly. And at this point, my pivot hole's on, and I'm just gonna gently kind of pull this spacer down and push the slab up because we want to overcome the resistance from that lip. And I've just done so. And you can kind of maybe have heard it snap into place. But once everything is in place, I'm going to screw the pivot back in. And then I'm going to tighten the spacer screw. You're not done yet, so don't close this video. There's an important step coming next. Next, take some type of thin metal object, and we're just going to push this plastic into the channel so it's seated properly. It's a friction fit in there, and that prevents the walls of the jimping from being pushed in with any amount of force. So I'm just going through and I'm just pushing the spacer into the channel cavities until everything looks nice and flush. And that's it. So you've just successfully installed Zippy spacers in the Fellowship Blades Gaboon. At this point, if you wish, you can remove the tape on the blade, which I will do now. And that's a successful installation. Thanks for watching, guys. Have a good one.